Hello, my name is Russell Myers, independent for U.S. President for 2024. Most Americans are extremely aware that we are engaging in economic warfare with numerous countries, but most notably China. Now, contrary to what you are being led to believe currently, trade wars do not benefit us. I am for international cooperation. And this is how economies actually work on the global stage. If you produce something and you want in this country and you want to sell it, well, you're going to want to sell it to other countries. You can't build up, a huge amount of animosity with other countries and conflict with other countries, and then expect them to buy things from you. So some steps the Biden administration is trying to take are to ban Chinese students from STEM courses in U.S. universities. Well, first of all, universities make a considerable amount of money from these students coming here. They're not attending these universities for free. So these universities will lose that funding, and they're going to want to make up for it somehow, which means that tuition is going to go up even more. All right, so for the record, China has more universities than the United States does in the first place. And Chinese universities for these upper level STEM courses are much harder to get into than U.S. universities are. The fact is that many Chinese students apply for the Chinese universities and they get turned down, and then they come here. And they come here and they are some of the best performing students. So the ones that did not do well enough to get into the Chinese programs come here, and they are the best performing students. Well, in addition, you have a lot of graduates, Chinese graduates, and from other countries that come here, they take these courses, and then they start businesses. They decide they want to stay here. They start businesses in the United States that are highly profitable to the United States. So this is all, none of this is going to benefit us. Then, the Biden administration wants to, basically, what he's working toward is banning any import or export of Chinese microchips. This is a foolish action also in itself. First of all, China is the largest consumer of microchips in the world. China accounts for roughly half of the microchips produced globally. The Biden administration, well, let me focus on that first. And then China also produces more than 1/3 of the microchips that are produced globally. was looking at some information. All right, so now this is from 2022, it does give me a year. All right, in 2020, the Chinese semiconductor industry registered an unprecedented annual growth of 30.6% to reach 39.8 billion in total annual sales. So that's a huge gain. The Biden administration is talking about building our infrastructure to make our own microchips. Well, I'm very much in favor of doing this, but there are problems with it. He is investing $50 billion into this. Well, that's only an initial investment, because China has invested hundreds of billions of dollars, and in recent times, because of U.S. sanctions, they have increased how much they are producing. Recently, they developed a new AI chip that outperforms the top performing NVIDIA chip, the A100. This new chip that they developed is 3,000 times faster than the NVIDIA chip, and it consumes 4 million times less energy. This is a major thing, because a huge concern with AI is how much energy it consumes. You think about that, 4 million times less energy and 3,000 times faster. Now, with the trade war that is going on and the limitations that are being placed on China, do you think they're going to sell us any of those chips? No, they're not. So, continuing on with development. First of all, China, U.S. chip manufacturers, U.S. chip manufacturers sell roughly 40% of their microchips to, guess who? China. So if we ban selling microchips to China, these companies will be struggling. They lose 40% of their revenue. That means less money for research and development. All right. You want to ban importing Chinese microchips. 40 to 50% of the microchips used by U.S. weapons manufacturers, Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, Raytheon, etc., Boeing, etc. Guess where they get 40 to 50% of their chips? From China. This is what goes into the F-35, our most advanced missile systems, our most advanced targeting systems. So you lose at least 40 to 50% of the microchips that are being used. Where are you going to make it up from? Because nobody else, all the microchip foundries in other countries, they're running at capacity. Okay, so we want to build microchip foundries in the United States. Well, China's building more microchip foundries too. They're way ahead of us in the number of microchip foundries. We only produce maybe 10% of the world's microchips, 10%. All right, so you want to build new microchip foundries. Okay, so first of all, this takes tens to hundreds of billions of dollars per microchip foundry. Now, when you are building microchip foundry, it takes years. Like I said, huge sums of money. Then you run into other issues. When you build a microchip foundry, ask any industrialist if you are building a new factory. When that factory opens, you're not producing anything at first. It takes time, especially with something this advanced. It takes weeks, months, generally months, of training for people to be able to actually produce anything. During that time, you're just eating money. You're just eating money because you've got to pay all those salaries, and those are not low salaries. You're paying for all the energy. And microchip foundries require a lot of clean water. So you're paying for that, and you're impacting your clean water supply. One microchip foundry being built in Arizona, that is the most foolish place in the United States to build a microchip foundry. It really is. Then there are other problems. Right now, the two largest manufacturers of lithography machines for producing microchips are in the Netherlands and Japan. Guess who buys 50% of their lithography equipment? China. That's who. So we want to impose sanctions. The Biden administration wants to impose sanctions on the Netherlands and Japan if they sell lithography equipment to China. So basically, they want to wipe out those industries in those countries. Do you think they're going to do it? No. They can either lose half of their revenue, or they can just ignore the United States mandate. All right, so Taiwan. The U.S. wants to ban Taiwan from selling microchips to China. Well, guess who buys most of Taiwan's microchips? Yep, that would be China. Guess who Taiwan's biggest trading partner is? By far, China. Yeah, let's talk about the production of microchips. Even if you build your foundry, something else you need is rare earth minerals. And for advanced technology in general, you need rare earth minerals. China produces 80% of the world's rare earth minerals. So, sure, you can, and by the way, there are rare earth mineral mines in the United States, but we don't have the processing facilities for those rare earth minerals. What happens is that U.S. miners, mining companies, export, they ship the ore over to China to be processed. It gets processed and it gets sent back. Why? All right, yes, we could increase mining. Well, that's going to cost you more money. And then we can build the processing facilities. Well, why don't we have the processing facilities? Because it costs so much money for so little return of processing those minerals. So you're going to spend tens to hundreds of billions of dollars and years to build the processing facilities, to develop the mines. So you're going to spend tens, hundreds of billions on building the foundries, tens of billions more developing the mines, tens to hundreds of billions more to build the processing facilities. But you're not done yet. When you build a microchip foundry, you're building it to the current level of technology. By the time that that foundry is finished and opens its doors, it's already out of date. Because the industry continues to develop at a very rapid pace. It takes years to develop the technology. Well, in the years that you're building this factory, if it takes 5 years to build the factory, then that's 5 years that technology has been advancing beyond the point that you have built the factory to. Now, of course, new factories can be upgraded after they're built, but initially you're going to be behind the curve. This is foolishness. Our biggest trading partner is China for both import and export. Are we going to lose all of this trade? And in this process, hyperinflation. You wind up with hyperinflation, inflation going much faster than wage growth. Okay, you have wage growth. Well, now it costs more to produce our products. Who can afford to buy it outside of the United States with our exports? You've increased the price of your exports. Our exports are already uncompetitive. Instead of cooperation, we just have to compete. And meanwhile, where are these hundreds of billions of dollars going to come from? Well, we're going to create more debt. And China and other countries are selling off U.S. treasuries, which is how our government, funds things. It's not as simple as we print more money. The government issues debt. And the Federal Reserve sells off that debt to other countries. These bonds get sold to investors. The higher that debt goes, the less likely it is that we're ever going to pay it off. And this is one reason other countries are moving away from U.S. treasuries. Trade wars are a losing battle. You impose tariffs. What does a tariff do? It increases the price you pay. This doesn't have an impact on China. China is not paying the tariff. You're paying the tariff. You impose sanctions on other countries or refuse to import things. Well, that means you have fewer choices. You have less competition, which drives up how much you pay for things. China produces the least expensive and the greatest number of electric vehicles. But we can't buy them in the United States. They also produce the most advanced electric vehicles. But you can't buy one. You can't go to another country, buy one, and import it here. It's against the law. You can't have it at all. Where are we headed with this? Is this going to do us any good? No. You have fewer choices. You have when you engage other countries to impose these sanctions, okay, well now they have to buy from the same sources that you do, which drives up the prices for imports, oil, microchips, food, steel, everything. The price goes up and goes up and goes up and goes up. Your income isn't going up and going up. That's not happening. Look at what most Americans are going through right now. So no, I am not in favor of this trade war. I am in favor of cooperation. I am in favor of peace talks. I am in favor of diplomacy. Well, I already know that this is not going to work. It doesn't matter whether you're voting for Biden or Trump. They're both going to engage in these trade wars. They're both fighting for who's going to impose the greatest sanctions and be the most adversarial toward our biggest trading partners. And you pay the price every day. When you're working multiple jobs, you're paying the price. When you're struggling to keep a roof over your head, struggling to pay the utilities, struggling to buy food for your family, you're paying the price. But who's collecting all the money? It's not you. All right, share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can afford it, please donate whatever you can to help expand this campaign. And I will catch you in the next one. I thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day.